Part 5. Reasoning. Categorical Syllogism. The topics are categorical syllogism, types of proposition, and basic proposition in the categorical syllogism. So the first topic was categorical syllogism. So what is categorical syllogism? A categorical syllogism is a logical argument that consists of three parts: a major premise, a minor premise, and a conclusion. Each premise and the conclusion must be in a categorical form, which means they must each contain a subject and a predicate that are connected by a copula. It's either is or is not. The major premise is a general statement that establishes a relationship between two categories, and the minor premise is a specific statement that relates one of the categories from the major premise to the third category. And lastly, the conclusion is a statement that follows logically from two premises. So, for example, the major premise is all humans are mortal, and the minor premise is Socrates is a human. The conclusion, therefore, Socrates is a mortal. In this example, the major premise establishes the relationship between the categories of humans and mortal. The minor premise relates Socrates to the category humans, and the conclusion follows logically from the two premises, stating that Socrates must be mortal because he is a human. The second topic was types of propositions. In logic, there are several types of propositions that can be used to construct arguments. Here are some of the most common types of proposition. The first one is categorical propositions. These are propositions that assert a relationship between two categories or classes. They can be of four types. The first one is universal affirmative, or all A or B. It's a categorical proposition that asserts that every member of category A is also a member of category B. For example, all dogs are mammals. The second one is universal negative, where it's no A or B. It's about a categorical proposition that asserts that no member of category A is a member of category B. For example, no cats are dogs. The third one is particular affirmative, or some A or B. It's a categorical proposition that asserts that at least one member of category A is also a member of category B. For example, some birds can fly. And lastly, the particular negative, some A are not B, is a categorical proposition that asserts that at least one member of category A is not a member of category B. For example, some fish are not freshwater fish. The next one is hypothetical propositions. These propositions that express a conditional relationship between two statements. They can be at two types. The first one is conditional proposition, or if A, then B. Is a hypothetical proposition that asserts that if statement A is true, then statement B must also be true. For example, if it rains, then the streets will be wet. The second one is biconditional proposition, or A only B. Is a hypothetical proposition that asserts that statement A is true if and only statement B is true. For example, a shape is a square only if it has four equal sides and four right angles. And the third one is disjunctive propositions. These are propositions that present a choice between two or more alternatives. They can be also in two types. The first one is exclusive disjunction, or either A or B. Is a disjunctive proposition that asserts that only one of the alternatives presented is true. For example, either the candidate will win the election or they will lose. The other one, the second one, is inclusive disjunction. A or B or both is a disjunctive proposition that asserts that at least one of the alternatives presented is true. For example, the event will be held on Saturday or Sunday, or both. And lastly, existential proposition, the last proposition, and this proposition that assert the existence of at least one member of a category. It also have two types. The first one is existential proposition. There exists at least one A. Is a existential proposition that asserts that at least one member of category A exists. For example, there exists at least one prime number greater than 2. And the second one is particular existential proposition. There exists at least one A such that B. Is an existential proposition that asserts that there is at least one member of a category B, A that also satisfies category B. For example, there exists at least one city in Asia that has a population of over 10 million. The third topic was basic proposition in categorical syllogism. And the third topic was the basic proposition in a categorical syllogism. It is a categorical statement that describes the relationship between two categories, that there are four propositions that can be used in a categorical syllogism, each of which has a specific form. The first one is all A are B. This proposition states that all members of category A are also members of category B. Like for example, all dogs are mammals. The second one is no A or B. This proposition states that no members of category A are members of category B. For example, no cats are dogs. And the third one is some A or B. This proposition states that at least some members of category A are also members of category B. And for example, some birds can fly. And lastly, the fourth one is some A are not B. The proposition states that at least some members of category A are not members of category B. For example, some fish are not freshwater fish. Each of these propositions can be used as the major premise, minor premise, or conclusion in a categorical syllogism, and they can be combined in different ways to form valid or invalid arguments. The validity of a categorical syllogism depends on the form of the premises and the relationship between the categories being described.
Hello, my name is Jabib Torres Sergio, and this is my part of report, Basic Terms in Categorical Syllogism. Categorical syllogism is a deductive argument consisting of three categorical propositions, two premises, and a conclusion. First is the major term. Major term is the term that appears in predicate position in the conclusion. Example, all cows are mammals. All mammals are animals. All cows are animals. The predicate position is animals. Second is the minor term. Minor term is the term that appears in subject position in the conclusion. Example, all cows are mammals. All mammals are animals. All cows are animals. The subject position is cows. And the last one is middle term. Middle term is the other one, the one that appears in each of the premises. Example, all cows are mammals. All mammals are animals. All cows are animals. The middle terms is mammals. Validity. A syllogism is valid or logical when its conclusion follows from its premises. A syllogism is true when it makes accurate claims, that is, when the information it contains is consistent with the facts. Valid categorical syllogism. Major premise is the one that has major term in it. Second is minor premise. Is the other one, the one featured the minor term. The last one is conclusion. Logical result of the relationship between the premises.